I was reborn. Back to the day Snowhan's mother threw a $500,000 card at me. In my last life, I stepped on it, saying love had no price. All I got was her cold smirk and Snowhan's disgust. To deserve her, I risked everything. In college, I nearly died chasing scholarships. After graduation, I joined her company. From the bottom, I worked harder than anyone. Others worked 9 to 5. I worked non-stop. When the Han company hit crisis, it was me, with grit and instinct, who got the investment. I pulled the company back from bankruptcy. I thought I'd join the Han family and marry Snow Han openly. Instead, my body broke down. Years of sleepless work destroyed me. The last time I collapsed, the doctor said it was terminal cancer. I had days left. Right then, Snow Han and Henry Lee came. Snow Han's eyes had no warmth, only relief. Henry Lee didn't hide his smugness. Holding Snow Han's waist, he looked down at me. Evan Chen. Thanks to you, the company is safe. Snow and I get engaged next month. Leaning on him, Snow whispered, Evan, don't blame me. My mom was right. We were never the same. So my whole life, I was just a tool. Used and thrown away. This time, I refused to be that fool again. I grabbed the card, smiled, and said, of course, ma'am. I'll disappear. For the first time. Fiona Lamb's face cracked. She expected every reaction. Except this. I stared at the card, eyes almost shining. It wasn't just a card. It was a new life. My past was dead, afraid she'd regret it. I snatched the card. To make it clearer, I added, don't worry. I'll leave Snow Han and quit the company. I'll leave this city. I'll cut all contact. Snow will never find me. Satisfied, ma'am. Fiona Lamb froze. She opened her mouth, but every line stuck in her throat. She said nothing. The way she looked at me, like I was a monster. Honestly, I understood. Just yesterday, I biked through heavy rain for half an hour just to buy Snow Han a cake she mentioned once. When I got downstairs, I was soaked like a wet dog. Snow Han rolled down the window, took the cake, frowned, and said, Evan, what happened? You look awful. Back then, Henry Lee sat in the driver's seat, one hand on the wheel, smirking at me. His eyes were full of mockery, like watching a dog beg for its owner's favor. And in that moment, I felt no shame, only sadness. I pulled out a photo. It was me and Snow Han. Once, it meant everything to me. Right in front of Fiona Lamb. I ripped it in half without hesitation. Then tossed it into the trash. Then I emptied my wallet of everything related to Snow Han. Even the cheap keychain she gave me. Auntie, see, to prove I'm serious. I don't want any of this anymore. You can relax now, right? After leaving the cafe, I went straight to the bank. Looking at the balance, $501,354. I finally breathed out. That extra 1,354 yuan was everything I saved in my last life. Pathetic, honestly. Without thinking, I withdrew 10 grand and stuffed it in my pocket. Then I went to the place I knew best, the Han Group Tower. I didn't go inside. I just sat across the street, quietly staring at the building. In my last life, this place was my battlefield, my home. I gave this place everything. Countless sleepless nights. I even believed, once, That my future was here. Looking back now, I was just a replaceable tool. A fool working himself to death for someone else's romance. My phone buzzed. A WeChat message from Snowhan. Evan. Did my mom see you? Don't listen to her. She's always like that. Wait for me. I'll see you tonight. Let's talk properly. Another message came. I bought your favorite buns. Still hot. I'll bring them later. Looking at those messages, I felt sick. Same old trick again. Hit you first. Then give you candy. A little fake kindness. To make you think she cared. Then you'd willingly ruin yourself for her. In my last life. That's exactly how she controlled me. As long as she treated me slightly better, I'd feel touched. Then work even harder. To prove she chose right. Now, it just disgusted me. I opened her profile. And deleted her immediately. After that, I walked into a phone store. And changed my number. Then I took a cab. Back to my tiny apartment. The place was small. But always clean. There was still a photo of us on the wall. And books she gave me on the shelf. Expressionless. I packed up everything about her. Piece by piece. Into a trash bag. Photos, ripped. Letters, burned. Cheap gifts, thrown away. When I tossed the final photo of her smiling face into the bag, my whole body relaxed. Like I'd finally removed a chain around my neck. I opened my laptop and wrote my resignation. No long explanation. Just a few lines. To management. I, Evan Chen, resign voluntarily. Effective immediately. No payout needed. I didn't want their money. I just wanted out. Away from this place. And these people. After sending the resignation. To our. And my supervisor. Inside were just a few clothes. And my important documents. As for everything else. I wanted none of it. I treated it like a funeral. For my stupid old life. I dragged my suitcase. And walked away. Leaving that apartment. Full of humiliation behind. Downstairs. I saw someone familiar. Snowhan stood there holding buns. Looking around anxiously. The moment she saw my suitcase. She froze. Then she rushed over. Evan. Where are you going? Her voice carried suspicion. I kept walking. Didn't even look at her. I walked right past. She reached for me. But I dodged her hand. Then I looked at her coldly. It was my first real look at her after rebirth. She was still beautiful. Makeup flawless. But to me, under that pretty face, was selfishness and cruelty. What's with you? I'm talking to you. Seeing me ignore her. Snowhan got annoyed. Are you mad because my mom saw you? I told you not to mind her. I'll talk to her. And why the suitcase? Running away. Can you stop acting childish? That same familiar tone. Condescending and superior. Like, my whole world should revolve around her. She never understood anyone else. I suddenly smiled. Snowhan, aren't you curious what your mom told me? I pulled out the bank card. And waved it at her. She gave me 500 grand. To leave you. Snowhan's face changed instantly. She quickly explained, Evan. Don't take it seriously. I cut her off. I did. I took it. And I promised to disappear. Her face turned red. Half angry. Half embarrassed. She clearly never thought I'd expose this deal. So calmly. In her mind, I should feel ashamed. Humiliated. How could you take her money, Evan? Is our relationship only worth 500 grand? She sounded heartbroken. I looked at her. Like she was the biggest joke alive. Relationship. Did we ever have one? Your so-called relationship was enjoying everything I did for you. While watching me work like a dog for your family. Then turning around to laugh with another man in his luxury car. Your love was saying you cared. while secretly planning, after I worked myself to death, how to inherit everything I built. My voice stayed calm, but every word felt like ice, cutting into her heart. Her face went pale instantly. "What nonsense are you saying? I never." Her eyes panicked. She avoided my gaze. I laughed coldly. "Really? Stop pretending, Snow-han. You know exactly who you are. And now, so do I. As for this money, I don't see it as a breakup fee. I see it as compensation. For years of working like a dog for your family. A bit cheap, but better than nothing. After all, to you, my life meant nothing." Right after that, I stopped looking at her pale face. I turned and walked away. "Stop. Explain yourself. What do you know?" I didn't look back. "I know everything. Your plans, the company's secrets, and your future. I know exactly how you'll fall and break apart. And I'll stand at the top, watching it happen." I hailed a cab and headed for the airport. The city I lived in for years faded farther away. I pulled out my new phone and booked a flight to Chishwangbana. No special reason. I just wanted somewhere warm, somewhere peaceful. From today on, I'd live for myself. As for Snow-han and her mess, they could stay in the past. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Evan, where are you? Explain before you leave. Did you misunderstand? Henry Lee and I are just friends." Just friends. The kind who drained me dry. Then took everything after I died. I blocked the number and shut off my phone. Outside the window, the sunset fell, painting the sky orange-red. My new life had begun. The air in Chishwangbana felt warm and humid, mixed with the scent of wet earth and plants. I found a small guesthouse, hidden among tropical trees. Outside the window, all I saw was green. On the first day, I did nothing but sleep. Morning to night. Then night till morning again. Like I was paying back all the sleep I lost before. When I woke up, I finally felt alive again. That deep exhaustion was completely gone. I turned on my old phone, which had been off for days. The second it powered on, texts and missed calls flooded the screen. Most were from Snow-han and her friends. "Evan, where are you? Call me back now. Evan, are you even a man? Why disappear without saying anything? What kind of man runs away? Evan, Snow's worried sick. Come back already. Stop acting out." I read every message, without expression. Mixed in between were messages from our "Evan, we received your resignation, but you must follow procedure. Leaving without notice counts as absenteeism, and the company can hold you responsible. Evan, President Han wants you back immediately. An important project needs you. Evan, if you still don't return, the company will mark this as job abandonment and affect your future references." Threats and pressure. Same old tricks. I let out a faint laugh and deleted everything. Then I inserted my new SIM and logged into an old stock account. There was still some money left from my college side jobs. I stared at the screen as memories flooded back. The biggest advantage of rebirth was knowing the future first. I split the 500 grand into 2 parts. Without hesitation, I put 200 grand into a tech stock that looked worthless at the time, but would explode tenfold in 6 months. The other 300 grand, I converted into Bitcoin through private channels. After finishing, I shut the laptop and stretched lazily. Now, all I had to do was wait. As for me, it was finally time to enjoy life. For the next month, I completely emptied my mind. I wandered through villages in Chishwangbana, watching elephants and peacocks, drinking rice wine with locals, and eating hand-grabbed rice. I visited the tropical gardens too, seeing all kinds of strange plants, feeling nature up close. I rented a motorcycle and rode through winding mountain roads. The wind roared past me, taking all my stress away. I was no longer the Evan Chen, buried in project plans every day, nor the Evan Chen, who humbled himself for love. I was finally living for myself. During that time, I occasionally turned on my old phone to see their reactions. Snowhan's messages slowly changed from anger to pleading and weakness. Evan, I was wrong. Can you come back? Let's start over. Henry Lee and I are innocent. Please trust me. That day, he insisted on driving me home. These days without you, I realized I can't live without you. Please come back. If I'd seen those words before, I probably would have softened instantly. I'd buy a ticket home and beg at her feet again. But now, it only felt ridiculous. What she missed wasn't me. She missed the tool who obeyed every word, worked like a slave for her family, and solved every problem. I never replied. I just watched quietly. A month later, I flew to Chengdu. There, I became completely carefree. Every day was eating, and more eating. Hot pot, skewers. All the food I only saw on videos in my last life. I tried them all. I visited Quanjai Alley and Jinli. Then sat in People's Park, slowly drinking tea. That peaceful life, full of warmth, completely drew me in. Another month passed, and I got the call I expected. It was Zhang Wei, my only real friend at Han Group. A quiet tech nerd, honest by nature. Back then, when everyone abandoned me, he was the only one still willing to talk to me. Brother Evan, where are you now? Zhang Wei sounded hesitant. Traveling. I replied with a smile. Why? Did you really quit? Yeah, I resigned. Silence filled the line. Then Zhang Wei whispered, Brother Evan, the company's in trouble. I raised an eyebrow, pretending to be shocked. Trouble? What happened? Wasn't Han Group doing great? Don't even ask. Zhang Wei sighed. After you left, President Han handed your project over to Henry Lee. I already knew the answer, but still asked Snowhan's friend, and ruined it. He even said, your plan was outdated, and wanted an internet-style approach. I asked calmly. And then, the first presentation failed. The partner was furious. They called us unprofessional, and may cancel the deal. Now the whole company is chaos. President Han is losing his mind. I picked up my tea, and blew away the leaves. A faint smile touched my lips. Just as expected. The Star Project was Han Group's biggest project for the coming years. I had built it myself. Every core detail. I knew best. Before I left, I hid a few key points and several technical traps that looked minor but were fatal. A fraud like Henry Lee would never see them. He wanted quick success, desperate to beat me. So of course, he changed everything and paid the price. Zhang Wei sounded uneasy. Snowhan is looking for you everywhere. She came to the office today, asking where you were. Brother Evan, maybe come back. I laughed softly. Back for what? To clean up his mess. But you worked there. And Snowhan. I cut him off. We're done. Whether Han Group lives or dies has nothing to do with me. Zhang Wei froze. You broke up. When? The day I left. If they ask, say you don't know. And stop calling me about them. Then I hung up. Zhang Wei was kind, but I wouldn't drag him in. My revenge was mine alone. I leaned back and looked at the gray sky. But my heart felt clearer than ever. Snow Han, Henry Lee. The real game had just begun. After that, I cut off my past. I traveled around Chengdu, and slowly, my heart grew lighter. The hatred from before once crushed me like a stone. But now, it cracked apart, turned to dust, and scattered with the wind. I no longer lived for revenge. I was finally learning to enjoy this life. Revenge was just a little dessert. Nothing more. 2 months later, my 200 grand investment grew 5 times, becoming 1 million. I sold it all. Then followed my memory and bought a pharma stock about to explode. As for Bitcoin, bought with the other 300 grand, it was rising too. Everything went as planned. I was no longer poor, just when I thought my past was gone. An unexpected guest broke my peace. That day, I was near Qinghai Lake, eating at a Tibetan restaurant. Then I saw a familiar face. The tiredness on her face was obvious. How did she find me? The thought flashed through my mind, but I stopped caring. With the Han family's power, finding me was only a matter of time. Maybe part of me also wanted to see what she looked like now. She saw me too. Her eyes lit up instantly, and she hurried over. Her voice trembled. I stayed seated, quietly looking at her. I finally found you. Tears streamed down her face. Do you know how hard I searched? She reached for my arm, but I avoided her calmly. My coldness stunned her. Evan, what's wrong? Why are you ignoring me? Are you still mad? She panicked. I was wrong. I really was. I shouldn't have gotten close to Henry Lee. Please forgive me. I looked at her tearful face. Without feeling anything. What do you want? Miss Han, I asked coldly. The title made her tremble. She stared at me. Evan, what did you call me? Aren't you Miss Han? I replied calmly. I'm Snow Han. I'm your Snow. Snow Han. What do you want? My distance finally made her realize I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I had truly changed. Her tears slowly stopped, replaced by panic. Something happened to the company. The Star Project failed. The investors want out and demand compensation. I only hummed, picked up my chopsticks, grabbed a piece of beef, and chewed slowly. Not bad. Pretty tender. My reaction shocked her again. She thought I'd panic, that I'd care, that I'd treat the company like my own problem again. But I didn't. I stayed calm, like hearing someone else's story. Evan. She finally exploded, her voice turning sharp. Are you even listening? The company's collapsing. My family's finished. So. I looked up. Your family's company is collapsing. What does that have to do with me? How can it not? You worked there too. You built the Star Project. Only you can save it. Only you can save the company. Snow Han, did you forget? I put down my chopsticks and wiped my mouth. First, I already resigned. I'm no longer part of Han Group. Second, your mother paid me to disappear. I'm simply keeping my promise. Snow Han turned pale. She never expected me to say it so calmly. That was my mom. Not me, she argued. I'll pay you back. Double, 10 times more. Just come back and save the company. I smiled faintly. Snow Han, do you really think I still care about money? Our pathetic little relationship Or that pretty face of yours. My words hit her like a knife. She'd probably never been humiliated like this. After all, she was always the spoiled princess. She stared at me, lips trembling, unable to speak. I thought she'd leave in anger. But she didn't. Reality crushed her pride. In the end, pride meant nothing. She took a deep breath, walked closer, then lowered herself beside me. Her voice was unbelievably humble. "Evan, please help me. I'll do anything." Her voice shook badly. Her eyes were full of despair. I leaned back slowly, a faint smile on my lips. "Anything." Snowhan stiffened instantly. Of course she knew what I meant. Humiliation flashed across her face. She struggled silently, then bit her lip, and slowly nodded. I smiled. A cruel satisfaction rose inside me. Back then, I was careful even holding her hand, afraid of upsetting her. And now, she offered herself like a bargain. Words aren't enough. Show me some sincerity. I lifted a finger and tapped my lips. The gesture looked casual, but deeply insulting. Snowhan's face turned red instantly. She stared at me, eyes filled with disbelief. She probably never imagined that the Evan who obeyed her before, and never dared raise his voice, would demand something this shameless. The diners around us noticed the tension and started watching. Those stares felt like needles, piercing into her. Her body trembled slightly. I knew she was struggling. On one side was her family, their wealth and future. On the other side was her last bit of pride. And even that was almost gone. I didn't rush her. I just watched coldly. Finally, after making up her mind, she closed her eyes and leaned toward me. Her lips were cold, stiff, and hopeless. I didn't respond. I didn't even close my eyes. I simply watched her coldly. Watched her pale face, her trembling lashes, and her humiliated expression. Just as she tried pulling away, I suddenly grabbed the back of her head and deepened the kiss. Her whole body froze. She tried to struggle, but I held her firmly. My movements were rough, without any tenderness, only revenge. After a long while, I finally let her go. She staggered back. "Is that enough?" she asked hoarsely. I slowly wiped my mouth. "If we're doing this, then let's do it properly. Come on, hotel. Let me see how sincere you really are." Snowhan looked at me like I was a devil. "Evan, do you really have to go this far?" I led her out. The night wind blew hard, rustling her clothes. She followed behind me, like an empty shell. I didn't take her to a luxury hotel. Instead, I found the oldest, cheapest motel nearby. The room was tiny, with broken facilities. The moment Snowhan walked in, she frowned. Her disgust was obvious. "Here." I sat down on the shaky old chair and crossed my legs. "Miss Han, you're used to luxury suites, not used to places like this. Honestly, this is already more than you're worth." My words hit hard. Her face turned pale. She silently walked to the bed, then stood there with her back to me, quietly staring outside. I ignored her too. Instead, I checked my stocks. Just like I expected. That pharma stock exploded after the news. It hit limit up for days. My 1 million had become 3 million. Watching the numbers rise, I genuinely smiled. That felt better than revenge. Time slowly passed. The sky turned dark. The room stayed unlit, making everything dim. Snowhan still stood by the window. "Come here." I finally spoke. Her body trembled slightly, but she still turned around and slowly walked over, under the dim light. Her eyes looked hollow and numb. She stopped in front of me. I stood up and stepped closer. She instinctively backed away until her back hit the wall. I grabbed her chin and forced her to look at me. "Snow-han, do you know something?" I imagined this moment countless times before. I imagined making you cry, making you beg me. But now, looking at you, I feel nothing. Just bored. I let her go and stepped back. She froze in confusion. I pulled out my wallet, took all the cash, then threw it at her face. Bills scattered everywhere. "Take the money and leave." My voice was ice cold. "You thought sacrificing yourself would make me come back and work myself to death again. You think too highly of yourself, Snow-han. And you think too little of me. I brought you here today. Not because I wanted you. I just wanted you to understand how cheap your sacrifice looks to me. How ridiculous it is." Shock appeared on her face first, then humiliation, then complete collapse. She slowly crouched down, covered her face, and broke into sobs. I looked at her coldly, without a trace of pity. This pain of hers was nothing compared to what I suffered before. At least she still had the right to cry. Back then, I didn't even have that. I turned around slowly, ready to leave the room, without any pity. She brought this on herself. I turned around, opened the door, and left without looking back. When I reached the motel entrance,